Alright. This where's my shit? Cool. Alrighty. Hi there. Hope everyone is having a good Super Bowl out there. With that being said, not expecting a whole lot of people here live or anything, but try and have as much fun as possible by myself, chilling, making stuff out of cardboard. So, first things first, new glasses. Okay. Boom. Swifty new glasses. Yep. I don't know. My eyes have deteriorated to the point where I needed some new glasses. So, that's whatever. And basically, right now, I'm making a knife. So, everyone by now has hopefully seen Gungr himself. Has hopefully seen the Hand of Gungr, which was started in episode 5. It's episode 6 now. And in between, I pimped it out a good bit, finished it off, and now just pew pew. It's all ready to go. So that's pretty cool. And today, we're gonna make a knife to go with this. So, the knife is gonna be pretty simple, nothing too crazy, just keeping it kind of manageable. It's gonna look like this. So this is the blade, this is the hilt, or handguard, and now I'm working on making a handle. And that's basically gonna be it. From there, I'm going to attempt to put some felt on it. So I'm thinking I got yellow, I got blue, and I got red. So I think I'm gonna break it out into something like making blue here, the red on the outer edge of the blade, and then yellow for the handle, the whole handle. Yeah, so that'll be hopefully good. It's my first time working with felt in this way. I haven't worked with felt since I was probably in elementary school, doing like those freaking things you get from Michael's. It's like, I don't even know. I remember I used to have a book, and I used to have a book of like designs that you can make with like pieces of wood, puffy pom-poms, like the pom-pom balls you can get in a bag, and felt. So that was the last, and like pipe cleaners and stuff like that. Also, shout out to Char_ for leaving the fidget spinner here at the house the other day. But anyways, I don't know if that was a common thing as a kid to have this book of weird designs, but I had it, so I liked it. I just haven't done much with it since, but that's why we're here, to kind of get that working. So I got the hilt kind of figured out. It doesn't have a bottom yet, and I think that's because I want to figure out the handle first, and then go from there. I'm thinking this is a decently sized handle to go with this. Yeah, it's pretty good. It's not too bad. I mean, it's long as hell. It's just not going to work, but that's the easiest part to fix at this point. yeah, not bad. Just trying to make like a generic knife in my own kind of canon type thing right now. I've drawn a few knives. I have a knife in my YouTube banner. I've made a good bit of knives, and I kind of like this thick blade type thing. So I'm gonna keep working on it, keep refining it, keep making it as good as I can, basically. And maybe one day people will know it as the Dahill knife. Who knows? It might already be known as someone else's knife. I don't know. That's okay. We'll figure it out when we get there, basically. So yeah, that's kind of right. By the way, all I'm using today is cardboard sourced from my local mailroom, but I, as per my mom's recommendation, I was looking at a site called Free Cycle the other day, and at least in my area, there was like 4 or 5 posts of, hey, I just moved and I have all these boxes that I don't want anymore. So if you're looking to get some free cardboard, I definitely check it out. So freecycle.org. So just hit those guys up, I suppose, and they'll probably give you some free cardboard. It's gonna be fucking sick. So anyhow, I'm gonna put this on here. I'm gonna try and make it as straight as possible. And yeah, just figure out a good size for the handle. Just a little behind the scenes, a little extra info. When I was making this and kind of just thinking about it, kind of just trying to figure it all out, I realized that if I kind of mimic the scale of this guy's scale is basically superhuman. My hand is not anywhere near big enough to wield this thing. I think that's good as a sculptural piece. I think it's a lot of fun for that. Kind of have this big, but for this guy, I kind of wanted it to be more in the realm of usability, and my top priority was kind of keeping the knife from looking like a buster sword. That was a big thing, because I know that at my school especially, people will just be like, oh, is that buster sword? And that's fine. That's nobody's fault. It's just, that's the way that things work when you're doing this kind of stuff. It's just, people know certain things out there, and if you make something that looks like that thing, you're going to be like, hey, were you trying to make that thing? And then you're going to have to be like, no, I wasn't trying to make that thing, but it ended up looking like that thing. I'm really ashamed of myself, but you know what? It don't matter. So I'm hoping this doesn't read as a buster sword, but who knows what will happen. And side tip, for anyone who's working alongside me, I've learned my lesson with the right and wrong side of the cardboard, and so now I'm trying to be a little more conscious of what side that I'm drawing on and exposing on the exterior of my sculptures, just because I think having like what I'd call the right side, which is a term from like fabric sewing stuff. It's just like there's a right side and a wrong side. There's an interior side of the fabric and an exterior side of the fabric. For cardboard, I'd say the wrong side is the side with anything printed on it, and the right side is your blank side, just a side with nothing on it. because then you could put a drawing on it. See, this does not read that well as a knife because there's a giant black stripe going through it. You get me on that? So you don't want to use that side. I got this side. I might look into making another one of these and putting both of them on the blade so that it kind of has that angle of so it basically look like this, that kind of thing, as opposed to just having one flat plane. I'm still thinking about it. Could go either way. But since we're covering in felt, the whole right and wrong side thing isn't as important. But just something that I've been kind of taking note of and trying to catch myself on. So yeah, just gonna cut out the last side of the handle. I guess I didn't have to cut it out this big, but it's all right. I took down the YouTube from my PC because I'm watching the stream too, just watching the chat. So don't think I'm a huge narcissist for this. Okay, I gotta watch the chat too, my G's. All right. I'm surprised that people are in here, but they are. So I'll just hit a char underscore up. Done. Love you, Char. Thanks for the fidget spinner. Yeah, wasn't expecting. No. Yeah, I guess I'll offer that comment. You watch any of the Super Bowl? Nah. I'm not really a football person in any sense. My dad really likes football. My brother really likes football. Me, I'm not too into it, to be honest with you. Never really followed it. And I remember as a kid, like, watching the Puppy Bowl on Animal Planet and thinking it was pretty cool. So that was me. I was just like, oh my god, this football shit's so goddamn boring. What can I do? And I saw the Puppy Bowl, and I was like, shit. Well, that looks entertaining. And I would just like leave the Super Bowl party to go watch puppies just like chill on a mat and mouth balls. It's pretty entertaining, I suppose. But nowadays, I don't even watch a Puppy Bowl anymore. I'm just not an organized sports type guy. I don't watch much, to be honest with you. Let's see how this looks. This is like this. Oh man, it's pretty thick. It's right. It's bowing out the handle. It's bowing out the hilt. Can't really see it too much, but it's definitely a factor. So I think I'm gonna trim one side of the handle, so it's a little bit more manageable. I'm just eyeballing this. I'm an eyeballer, what can I say? It's less long. Now it's less long. Sorry. I'm a big fan. Yeah, I probably wouldn't have remembered it was a Super Bowl if I didn't go to Publix today to get some food, get some groceries, and I saw everybody was out. They were like, oh my god, hon, we gotta get some goddamn chips. We gotta get some dips. The people, they want it. They're coming to the house. I'm like, God bless you. I think if I just cut this down to where this piece is, I think will be made in the shade. Just do that, making a few marks. That's not straight, but it's okay. So yeah, side note for the fans, we hit our goal with the Cloud Pack Mark 1s. I'm hyped. I appreciate everyone who bought one, everyone who spread the word. We sold 20. That was the goal from the jump. 20 shirts, and we did it. 20 out of 20. I mean, that's pretty sick. To think that 20 people out there want to rep my brand in any sense is it's a pretty good feeling. So I appreciate anyone who bought one. Pinko got on one. She bought one. Big shouts to Pinko. Yeah, sold them out. Sold them out in the last day. I think the campaign is over. Actually, let's see. No, we got 2 hours left. But yeah, so if you're here right now and you haven't gotten a shirt already, go ahead and do yourself a favor. Go get one. That should be good. Just gonna do one little trim. Winter Olympics? When does that start? Is that on now? As I wait for that answer, I'll just say that I've never followed. February 8th they start? What like sports are in the Winter Olympics? I really don't know. Is diving in it? I'd imagine that just to be summer. But I feel like maybe there's just indoor diving. Do they have that? Indoor diving type deal? What do these guys do all the time when they're not Olympicing? You know? That's my question. I'm like, do these guys just train all year? It seems pretty redonkulous. Alright. Hold up. Plug in the glue gun. Because I think we're ready to start assembling. That's something. Something. So for this, I'm wondering. You say I'm crazy. This is what we're looking at with this. That's pretty good size. And then I'll just make 2 little cardboard cuts to cover the bottom of the hilt up. I think it'll look pretty swifty. Pretty swifty. Pretty swifty as well. Yeah. So. Just let that heat up. Let that baby heat up. I'm just kind of using this little hour as a break from school. You know, things are kind of chaotic and just, I don't know, a lot of thinking getting done. Basically, if any of you guys know my thesis, it's a VR shooting game, and it takes place in an armored vehicle, and you're kind of going through the desert getting chased by a bunch of enemies. And over time, as I've kind of developed these 3D sculptures, these cardboard sculptures, I'm learning a lot about myself and just kind of discovering things that I'd like to talk about in my senior thesis at school. Mostly, I'm realizing the relationships that people have to objects and that people have to just inanimate objects, videos, film, like the relationship that people have to content, I suppose. One kind of example of that is that the guns in my game began as traditional guns, and ever since making this guy, you can kind of see I put on him these kind of, I see them as like fleshy holes inside of the barrel where you could like insert like a magazine or like a cartridge in there and then use that to shoot. So you just like insert this thing in the back and go and yeah, so I kind of thought that kind of came up out of nowhere, just making this thing and drawing all over it. And with that, I took it and made a new prototype. I made this guy who looks like a fleshlight, understandably, but yeah. So you could see here, my idea is like in this world they kind of have cans of bullets, and you would just take your bullets and kind of shove them into your gun or your magazine, whatever you want to do, and then you just go. And once you're done shooting, this guy comes back out. So that was kind of a random idea that just came out of prototyping and experimenting. And with that, I'm kind of leaning into a idea of the guns in my world are kind of going to be half organic, half inorganic. So my latest drawings are showing, I'll tell them about my drawings I was doing earlier.
Oh yeah.
What are you up to?
Hello. What you making?
I'm making a knife. I'm letting my hot glue heat up. There you go. It's nice and hot.
Cool beans.
What's going on out there? You watching the Super Bowl?
Nope.
You working on your patch?
Nope.
It's doing homework.
Yeah.
Nice. Nice. Alright, well, anywho, what I was gonna say was that, the guns in my game will be half organic, half inorganic. So the drawings I've been doing is, basically the gun has like a fiberglass frame, a fiberglass shell that's just empty, and in order for the shell to be complete and the thing to become like a usable gun, you need this organic being to kind of be planted within it, and it'll kind of grow within the shell of the gun, and make up the gun. What you looking for, gun? What you need?
Sweater.
She's distracting me.
Sorry. I'm cold.
You want a sweater?
I got you.
Sweater. My guys are in my drawer. They say I'm crazy. Do you want to say anything to the viewers, Bub?
Regarding what?
Any life lessons for him? Any questions for him?
Oh my gosh! I just put my earrings in this water cup. Let's see. Have fun during the weekend because you can't have fun during the week as much as you can on the weekend. And it doesn't matter if you have homework. You're already here.
What the heck? What do you mean by that? And that's it?
That's all you get.
Wow. So he says, don't do your homework. Just fuck around on the weekend. Interesting. I think some would consider that a little controversial. But you heard it here first. That's kind of what I did this weekend. Didn't really worry about homework that much. And it helps because homework nowadays at school is very open-ended. It's very just, oh, did you think about your project? Sweet. That's all they really care about. So I feel like I think about my project plenty. Maybe too much. You know? But it's a lot to think about when you're making one of these games or anything like that. Bitches. It's annoying how this glue gun just wears itself down. It wears down the glue stick just by default as it idles. It just melts glue all over. Yeah, when you make something in games, especially when it's stylized or fictional, you enter a realm of kind of, you have to know a really large amount of what's happening in this world type thing. In my experience last summer, I was working on a adventure game with the company, and I was working remotely, and in their game, we had to know who made everything in the world. And I mean that in the sense of who makes cardboard in this world, who makes crates in this world, how does every race involved in the world make a crate. So they wanted you to be able to see a crate, and based on how it was built or what materials it used, know which race in the world made it. So, that's pretty huge. It's a lot of thinking to do, and you as the creator kind of need to know the background to everything that's happening. So if your character sees a sign and it's in some different language, you kind of have to know a thing or two about that language or that culture in your game that made that language, or what that sign means in the grand scheme of your world. And that's not just for games, that's for like any kind of world building thing I've learned. Kind of puts you in a position of being omnipotent. You need to know a little bit about everything. And in one of my classes here at school, we had an architect come in and talk to us a little bit about architecture. And he was like, alright, so if everything in your world centers around X, how do the people in the world get there? Where do they go at? Let's say the thing everyone is focused on in this world is like the Super Bowl. It's like, okay, where does the Super Bowl take place? How does everyone get there? Where do they sit? Can people watch it if they're not at the game? Where do they go afterwards? Do we have infrastructure to support Super Bowl parties? If you have Super Bowl parties, you probably need grocery stores to supply groceries. How do people get to the grocery store? They're probably going to need roads. That's a lot of extra stuff I was never really thinking about before I kind of took that class, This is the base. This is the handle. This is what I might do the yellow felt on. I think I will I want to get this felt on and give it a shot. You don't have to use any glue stick. And this thing goes on top. I just don't want it to be super fragile type deal. But I just know that if I do this, it'll need a top part. So it'll need a new back piece and a new top piece. So I'm trying to think, is it worth? I think it would be worth. So I'm just going to unplug the glue stick and kind of draw up another one of those. Another blade piece. Like this. I've noticed that tape kind of inhibits the dream. As you can see on this little guy, that handle, this handle only goes so far up because of the tape, which is kind of annoying. It's kind of a look too, though. so I'm not too sad about it on this guy. But just moving forward, just gonna try and keep it in mind, and just try and keep it in mind. That's all you can do. Trace it out. Dripping. Today was a very overcast day at school, and I had to do a lot of going to different places. I had to get groceries. I went out of town to go to a flea market, and overcast days are not good for doing those kinds of things. Overcast days, to me, they're all about just staying in, just getting it done inside. Just because it's so miserable looking outside, and yeah, so I guess kind of affected my brain a little bit, and it's making me a bit tired, a bit out of it. But the good news is that it rained a little while ago, and I would hope that means it's the end of the overcast, cloudy days. So let's hope that that is the case. I'll just plug this back in. I think I'm ready. I'll put these two together. I won't glue it to the thing yet, because I think it'll be easier to put felt on this off of the hilt than to do it while it's on the hilt. So I guess while I'm at it, I'll just measure this out. Not super accurate, but I'll give it a shot. It'll probably be bigger than we need. When it's bigger than what you need, you can always cut down. Always cut down. You say I'm crazy. The easy way to tell if this is going to work is, I guess, to put this on here and see that's pretty much the length of the whole hilt. And super, it's not super diagonal, but definitely just best way to do this. I don't know. Put it on the table. It's a tough call. Very tough call. This is going to give us something. That's pretty cool. Oops. It's tough. Tough stuff. I get it. Alright. This is on. Apply a good bit into this little crack at the front. Oh, glue. Glue. Just squeeze that together. Sandwich that all up. Just doing that. This little side right here. No big deal. What I like about working traditionally with this cardboard and everything is just how there's no real rules to doing it all. It's just, did you stick the two ends together? Oh, sweet. There you go. No matter how jerry-rigged it is, it's just a matter of, well, did it work? If it worked, then awesome. It's not always the case in 3D, or in digital 3D. There's a lot more room for, oh, that file type isn't supported by this program. It's like, oh crap. Or stuff like that. But there is, I think, and a lot of people don't realize, there is a big margin in digital sculpting and 3D work in general for just kind of making it work moments. Everything I do in Maya is, or not everything I do in Maya, but my like personal Maya animations are pretty much, or I guess you can't really say they're not the intended way to use the program. There isn't really an intended way to use a lot of these things. They're very robust, so you can use it for a lot of stuff. And I use Maya for all my pixelated animations that you see on my website and on Instagram, and a few people have asked me like how to do that, and I wrote up a breakdown on cartridge.com of how to do it, but even so, just it's not really something that's super readily available online, how to do these kind of cartoony pixelated renders, but with enough messing around you could kind of figure out anything on these programs, especially when they're as robust as they are. So yeah, you kind of just gotta finagle things, because in real life that's kind of how it go. You know, if you just make it in by an inch, you still made it in. You know, I have a have a big feeling lately towards just doing over planning so much. I was planning to actually draw out this knife design and do it all in cardboard beforehand, before we started the show, and then just do the felt. And I'm sure that would have been great if I could have done it that way, but the way the cookie crumbled was I had to do the cardboard. But even so, it's still fine. It's just if I canceled the show because I didn't have the cardboard ready, I feel like that would have been way worse of an option than to do the show without having the cardboard ready. And I find that with a lot of things where there's a lot of feeling of like, oh, I'm not ready to do that yet. I'm still preparing to do that. And that's definitely valid a lot of the time, but I'm just in a phase right now where I just want to try everything. And I feel like I have a good set of foundational skills that kind of allow me to branch out a little bit and kind of do stuff like this, where I've never made YouTube videos in my life until I started doing this show. And it's kind of just like, why not? I think I can understand it. I'll look up a guide. You look up a guide and it's all right there for you. So I mean, I guess in that sense I do plan a little bit. I try and get the info, but yeah, just being spontaneous, seeing what comes out can lead you down interesting roads, like with this gun design stuff. You know, I didn't expect it to go down this road, but it kind of just came to me while experimenting. God. So I think it's important to experiment and keep kind of generating ideas and figuring out the direction you're going in. Just because it's easy to kind of get like a seedling of an idea, and then you kind of run off and try and start executing it. But a lot of the time, it's only a seedling. It's only just the beginning of an idea that comes to you, and you kind of gotta sit with it, ponder it, and experiment with it. And I only say that just because doing this whole process of doing these prototypes and working on my thesis all the time and thinking about it all the time and thinking about what I'm trying to say and how it relates to me, it's really rewarding. And it's the first time in my life that I've felt like I'm building towards something bigger than just a one illustration type thing, one animation, one submission. I feel like I'm building something for myself, some kind of, making breakthroughs for myself. When I see people online who kind of do the same thing over and over again, I mean, I have mad respect for them because they have their own followings and their own merchandise and stuff, but it just makes me think that they put in their seedling, or they cashed in their seedling too early, or just they found success with the one idea and haven't really developed it beyond that or something. And That's something my mentor slash teacher talks to me about a lot. He says, just don't get stuck in ruts and don't, kind of get known for. I mean, I guess you should probably get known for doing something, but just don't stay stagnant. Just try and be dynamic and keep mixing it up and stuff like that. Keep trying new things and new mediums and whatever draws you in. I would not like to get to a point where I just make things based off what people online tell me to make, or like what I think they want me to make type thing. I would like to just do stuff that's cool, and keep doing stuff that's cool, do different things that are cool, and show people the new cool things. And maybe they'll like it, maybe they won't. That's just part of the relationship, I suppose. Ow! Burnt my finger. I turn this thing on high, and then I turn it down low. But I think it's just been on high this whole time. It's so freaking hot. But so basically, I had to put that little topper on there. Little triangle topper, little curved little triangle topper. Thought it'd be way harder, but it was mad easy. So, just gotta power through sometimes. And so now basically, got this baby going, and I like it because I think it was necessary to put that point in just to have the light be able to reflect off that surface. You see that shadow right down here? I guess you can't see it up there, but it's just the light's gonna reflect off this blade differently than it does the handle. Most of the time, I'm hoping, and hopefully that'll just add some visual interest. I think the next thing to do is, felt these things up. I'm kind of reaching the hour mark. I'm a little tired today, so I think I might end it here. I might just cut it off. Got ourselves a knife. The beginnings of a knife. Hopefully we'll have that. Look at that. That's pretty cool. Pretty nice. Pretty nice. And hopefully we'll have it felted up soon enough. Alrighty. So I hope everyone enjoyed this little stream. I know it was a little chill, a little low stress. But hope once everyone's done watching the Super Bowl, they come over to the kid, give us a watch. But it's all good. So thanks for watching, everybody. Bye bye.